What is up, everybody? It's Copes here, and today I am back with the every Fortnite location tier list. If you guys want to complete this tier list, make sure to look in the description. I'll post the link there. And also, when you're done, send it to me on Twitter so I can see your tier list. There isn't Tilted Town on this list, but after I rank Tilted Towers, I'll make sure to tell you where I would put it. So I think Tilted Towers changed the game of Fortnite quite a bit. I think it was aggressive early on, but Tilted Towers made this game so much more aggressive. There are more people dying off spawn trying to get those high kill games, and less people alive end game than there ever was before once Tilted Towers was added to the game. I love the hectic and chaotic environment it created, but there is one problem I see with it. Maybe two, but one main problem. The one problem that drops it into A tier is traps in Tilted Towers kill me so much. It makes it feel like you have to camp and always be looking around corners for traps, and I really don't like it about it. One day, if they bring back Tilted Towers, I hope they eliminate spawn traps inside of Tilted Towers. If you want to come in there later from Pleasant Park with traps, then feel free to place them down, but early game, no traps. That's why I love Tilted Town a little bit more, and I would have to put it in S tier because there's no traps. I also think there is one more small problem with Tilted Towers. It's the players inside there. They sit on top of the buildings and spray you when you try to rush. Tomato Temple and Tomato Town both belong in C tier. I think they're both decent areas of the map to rotate into because usually they're unlooted. But actually landing there, I honestly haven't done it enough. I don't think there's enough loot to go around, especially in duos or squads. I think it would be okay to land there in solos, but there's honestly not enough loot to go around even in solo. Wailing Woods is one of those great places to land at if you just want to have a slow night. If you don't want to try hard too much, you just want to relax, listen to some music and play the game, Wailing Woods is definitely that spot. I also like it for tryharding if I'm trying to go on a win streak. I really hope they bring it back. I truly hate Salty Springs, and it seems like everyone always wants to land there. I have to put it in E tier. I feel like one way they could make it better is if literally every single building had a basement. It seems like so many people land there, all the loot is gone. You can maybe get one house or you split a house and there's no shields if you kill everyone. So even if you end up killing everyone, the best case scenario, you have 75 health. I've always felt like Shifty Shafts is a mediocre spot. It deserves E tier right next to Salty Springs. There's not much loot to go around. I really don't like fighting in that terrain. If someone's above you, they're gonna pound you. I hate fighting or getting stuck underground as well. Snobby Shores deserves A tier. I feel like it's a perfect spot, just like Wailing Woods, to land at if you just want to chill a bit. I think it's a great spot to land in competitive. There's a ton of loot to go around and a ton of mats as well. I think Sunny Steps is one of the best looking places on this map, but honestly, it deserves D tier. I feel like ever since they took out geysers, there's just no reason to land there. The Block. It's our first in S tier. I absolutely love the Block, and I love how it's forever changing. There are some blocks out there that are horrible, but I just won't land there for that week. The next week, it's gonna be great. There are so many different blocks. I would love to rank them from worst to best, but I think it does have a great reputation for having at least 70% of the blocks working out and being good. There's so many mats there, so many ammo crates, and usually you can get pretty good loot there. And unlike Sunny Steps, I feel like you can get to the center of the map very quickly and just hit that rift and go. I love that. Paradise Palms also deserves S tier. I think it's one of the best looking spots on this map. I absolutely love it. I love the desert theme. I think it's a great aggressive and also passive drop. If the bus is very far away, not many teams will go there. If you're flying right over it, there's going to be a ton of teams there, but there's so much loot to go around. And then after you're done killing all the teams there, there's usually leftover shields and you can go hit the rift. Moving on to Pleasant Park, I have to give it A tier. I wish there was a basement in every single house, just like I want for Salty Springs, but they have been adding more and more basements, which makes me like Pleasant Park even more. Before they added a few of the basements in certain houses, I would say it's probably B tier. I love fighting here, I love dropping here, and it's always been one of my favorite places to land. And unlike Salty Springs, it has a nice flat terrain, which I like fighting on. Polar Peak is one of the worst locations in this game. It deserves F tier. I hate winter-themed locations. I will admit, I am very biased about the winter or the snowy themed part of the map. I really just don't like it. I think Polar Peak is one of the worst locations ever made. I hate the giant hill. I hate how you either have to go up a zip line or you have to build with a billion mats to get up here. I just don't care for it. Retail Row, I absolutely love. I don't care for the zombies, but I think the OG Retail Row is one of the best locations in this game. I love how there's a store side and then there's a house side. There's literally almost never a point where someone lands with you. You always get a house to yourself. Risky Reels, just like Snobby Shores, one of those outskirt locations that I love. It's usually pretty hectic for some reason. It was, at least back in the day, but I absolutely love this location. I love how there's not too much to go around, and it feels so hectic when you land here. There are some locations that I'm okay with not having very much loot to go around, and this is one of them. Leaky Lake, I have to put in B tier. I really like this location for the island. I love rotating from Loot Lake, and I love that they always implement new ways to rotate from Loot Lake. But in all honesty, I would never drop here. It's only for rotation. Lonely Lodge deserves E tier right next to Salty Springs and Shifty Shafts. I think it's just a pretty boring location, nothing too special. Yeah, that's about it. I also think it's a downgraded version of Wailing Woods. Loot Lake with no rotation is easily F tier. I hate this place. Lucky Landing is easily B tier. I love the aesthetic of this place. I think it's very similar to Paradise Palms and Sunny Steps. It's just so good looking. I hope they add more locations that look similar to these three, either Paradise Palms, Sunny Steps, or Lucky Landing. I think they all look great, and Lucky Landing has a bunch of loot. It is a pretty far rotation, but I still love it. Moisty Mire, don't lie to yourself, guys. It belongs in F tier. It's so far out of the way of everything. I remember you land there, you have to run through water, which I hate. There's not too much loot, and even if there is a lot of loot technically there, it's very hard to get through when your feet are stuck in the muck. Guys, you really don't want Moisty Mire back. You truly don't. You don't. I know you say you do, but you don't. I know I said I hate the winter theme part of the map, but Happy Hamlet just transcends that. Happy Hamlet is like Paradise Palms, but on steroids. It just doesn't look as good. There's so much loot here, it is mind-boggling. If you wanted to, you could loot the whole game here, and by the time you're done looting, there's going to be 10 people left and you're going to be stacked on loot. It is a pretty far rotation, but I still love it. Haunted Hills is a decent spot to land at. I have to put it in C tier. I do like the look of it, and there are a decent amount of people who will go here. I like it for competitive as well. I think it's just an average spot. Junction is one below Haunted Hills. I honestly think Junction is a decent spot. Maybe it's because I played competitive, but I love landing there in competitive. I know a lot of people love Lazy Lagoon, but I personally don't like it as much as Lazy Lynx. I really wish we got that back in place of Lazy Lagoon. I think it's an okay spot. I understand why you would land there, but I hate rotating out of it. I don't know why, but it feels like I run forever and ever and ever, and then I'm barely in zone. There is a ton of loot and a ton of mats, so I understand why you might like this place, but it's just not for me. Lazy Lynx, one of my favorite places to ever land at. I have to put it in A tier. I think it's a great spot. I truly do. And I hope it comes back into this game. There's not too much loot to go around, just like Risky Reels, but I think it transcends that. Anarky Acres deserves C tier. And you know what? Fatal Fields, it's basically the same. It deserves C tier as well. I think these are both decent locations to land at. I hate Fatal Fields because of the cornfields. I hate it. Everyone just hides in there when you beam them, and then you have to run away. Anarky Acres is basically the same as Fatal Fields, it's just an average location. Dusty Depot has always been a horrible spot. The nostalgia got to you guys. It's horrible. There's no loot there. You're in the middle of the map, I guess. But guys, you're just lying to yourself. It's a horrible location. Dusty Divot, landing at it was okay, but I really hated rotating into it. It was good cover, but if there was someone there and you had to fight them, it was such an ugly fight every time. Flush Factory deserves F tier. There's no lying here, guys. It was so insanely far away from each zone, and even if it wasn't, you'd have to run 10 minutes to get into one fight. It's such an ugly spot. It has such an ugly name. It looks so ugly. This is just horrible. Frosty Flights I've never liked. It is an F tier. I always thought if you're gonna land near Frosty Flights or at Frosty Flights, why not just go Happy Hamlet? It's so much better. Griese Grove I have to put in B tier. I just like it a little bit less than all the locations in A tier. I think it's an amazing location and I wish they brought it back. I hope they bring it back over Flush Factory. I wish they brought it back over Dusty Depot, which is just horrible. And if they bring back Moisty Mire before Griese Grove, I'm gonna kill someone. Mega Mall I think deserves C tier. I think it's an okay location, but I just don't like it nearly as much as I like Retail Row. For Neo Tilted, I really never liked it all that much. I have to put it in D tier. It's when I stopped playing Fortnite, and maybe that's one of the reasons why. I feel like Tilted Towers has to be good, or I'm just not gonna like the game as much. Pressure Plant I think deserves D tier. It's an okay location and I understand why you would land there. I just personally don't see the point in landing there. I get it, you get a lot of mats and then you can basically rift out. But I guess the location just isn't for me. So crazy enough guys, I would say the main locations I land at, Paradise Palms, Tilted Town, which would be an S tier, remember that? Pleasant Park and Retail Row. Those are the main locations I land at. If I'm playing with friends, you know they'll take me to Salty Springs, but just because I don't land at the Block or Happy Hamlet as much as I would like to, doesn't mean I don't love these spots. I feel like the Block and Happy Hamlet are those spots you land at in competitive, or you land at if you want to be a little bit more passive or try to go for a win streak. So for S tier, the Block, Paradise Palms, Happy Hamlet, and Tilted Town. For A tier, Tilted Towers, Snobby Shores, Pleasant Park, Retail Row, Risky Reels, and Lazy Lynx. So this is my honest opinion on these landing locations. Even if I land at A tier a lot, I still would say S tier, there's just something better about it. It looks better, I have more fun when I land there, the loot is just insane, and for the Block in specific, I just think it's such a cool idea that it's forever changing. Tell me what you guys think about my list. I think this will be controversial and I'll probably lose 100 subs for it, but this is my opinion guys. I would say everything except for F tier I have respect for. Guys, I'm very excited to see what we're gonna get next. I hope it's S tier, I truly do. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye guys.